Hey everyone, welcome to Balanced Bodybuilding Radio. I am your host, Leemarie. I'm a Glam Girl Bikini coach, and I am joined by my coach and co-host.
Hey guys, it's Amy Enger, founder and CEO of Glam Girl Bikini.
So today we are talking about coaching, and do you need a coach, whether you are a bikini competitor in your improvement season or you are a lifestyle, just looking to lose a little weight, get in shape, get a little healthier? Do you need a coach? But first, I have a random question of the day. And as always, we would love to include some listener questions. So if you have a question, you can shoot us a DM on our Instagram, Balanced Bodybuilding Radio, or put it in the comments on our YouTube channel at Glam Girl Bikini. So my random question for today is, what is your number one dieting hack?
Oh boy. Yeah. See, these are like live. She doesn't tell me what the
I
question's
can
gonna
go
be.
first if you want to think, because
Yeah,
I
you
have
go ahead.
like my number one dieting hack, the moment that I thought in my head, oh, I can do this, I can live this as a lifestyle, was when I discovered stevia. And it blew my mind because I grew up in that, like, my mom would always tell us that anything like sugar-free, fake sugar was bad for you. And I mean, research since then has kind of proven that in the doses that we use, unless we have allergy or unless, it causes our bodies to, retain water or bloat or whatever, it's totally fine. But stevia is all natural and it's from a plant-based, and I have a major sweet tooth. So when I discovered stevia and all the things I could do with it, I was like, I can do this.
Well, as last time I said I'm on team ice cream, I just feel like, and this has been super recent, and I've been competing for 12 years. So but my Ninja Creamy making protein ice cream has just been such a game changer for me, because it's only like 130, 150 calories, depending on what kind of protein powder you use. And it's so close to the texture of real ice cream that, it used to be like, if I was in the improvement season or like not on prep, quote unquote, like I would like eat all the ice cream and then I would go with no ice cream during prep. So now there's like no difference between it. I can have ice cream all year round and it easily fits in my macros. So that's my
I
hack.
love it. I love it. Okay, so comment down below if you're watching on YouTube and tell us what your number one dieting hack is.
Yeah, we want to hear.
Okay, so what we're talking about today is coaching. Do you need a coach in your improvement season? Or do you need a coach if you are just trying to lose weight, get a little healthier, all that? So we're talking about benefits, setbacks, all the things, your specific, hopefully we'll talk about your specific circumstance of if you need a coach. So when I think about a coach, I think about like any athlete. If you think about athletic teams, any athlete, they usually have a coach, and it's different than having a trainer, a personal trainer. So, what are your thoughts on the differences between a coach and a personal trainer?
Well, a lot of my athletes have both, because a personal trainer, and we've both been personal trainers with people in person, there's specific benefits to having a personal trainer show you technique, make sure your form's correct. They can just seeing them face to face, I think, too, can provide a different kind of accountability. But they can also just spot you so that you can do heavier weight and correct your form. So, I mean, there are ways to do that online as well. Like, for example, I will do form checks with videos and send feedback with Loom videos. There's other options too that you can do, like a FaceTime personal training session. And I have offered that to my clients. So, in reality, I think anymore with how digital we've become as a society, I think we're really finding ways to better connect with people than we had in the past, between like Zoom and FaceTime and things, and then like Loom videos. And so you can be anywhere in the country really and hire somebody that can do some of those things for you. But some people just really like someone right there pushing them, holding their hand. So they'll take my programming that I've designed for them, and then they'll have a personal trainer go through it with them. So
I love that. I always kind of think about, like if I was going to think of an example, I think about if you go to like a really nice restaurant and you have like a restaurant meal,
mhm,
or if you go into your kitchen and it's fully stocked with groceries. So yes, you go and it's fully stocked with groceries and you might have to put in a little more work. You have to make the meals yourself, but
mhm.
there's a lot more meals versus just going to the restaurant meal and all the work is done for you. So it's not like a perfect example, but if I work with a personal trainer, or for me, it's usually friends that are trainers and we're working out together, yeah, I'm going to push myself harder. They're going to push me. I'm going to get a really good workout in. But I know that I want to have a coach because they're going to give me a week's worth of groceries, or a month's worth of groceries. They're going to give me all the resources that, yes, I might have to put in a little bit of work. I have to get myself to the gym because I'm not meeting somebody. I have to push myself through the workouts, but I'm getting all of the workouts, all of the cardio, the whole plan, nutrition, recovery, all the resources, plus the accountability, check-ins, progress, all of that, that is going to set me up to succeed in the long run a lot more than just one session, if that makes sense. But I do think there is value of having a personal trainer, just to make sure that you're pushing yourself hard enough too, and getting good form, like form checks and using the right muscles, even just having that couple of times a month to kind of get you in check. Usually you're able to learn enough through the session to kind of carry you over and keep learning. That's kind of my take on it.
Yeah, I like that restaurant example because I feel like it's a lot more expensive, like in the long term, if you were to have a personal trainer every single day. I mean, it's dollars to hours, like it's going to be very expensive. But I do feel like it's like a resource that is, you know, I feel like privileged or like special when I get to work with a personal trainer every once in a while. Like a lot of times I'll go out to Arizona, to the pros gym, and have one of the bikini pros like put me through a personal training workout. And I just always like, there's different tools that every trainer kind of has, and like different gadgets and things. And I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to like learning some of the nuances of the sport. So I like doing that. I like treating myself to those every once in a while, but it's similar to, we were talking offline, like, do you want to give somebody a fish or do you want to teach them how to fish? And I think just that scaffolding that you need, for the long term, and like the progression of just, like you said, checking in the nutrition. Not all personal trainers do nutrition. So those are some of the things there. I know we were going to talk about also just some of the best practices that coaches, um, basically when you're trying to hire a coach, like what qualities are you looking for? So, Leemarie, did you want to start with the first one?
Yeah. So one of the qualities that you should look for a good coach is that they're willing and able to answer questions regarding your protein. So, or your
Program.
sorry.
Your
That was
protein too,
actually
but
part of your program. So your program is not just a cookie cutter program that they send to everyone. It needs to be individual to you and your goals. That adjustments are made to the program and feedback is given in a timely manner and with care. I think that's really
Mhm.
important, that they're able to know, like find out things about you and what makes you unique, because they're working with your body, which is unique to everyone, and your genetics and your tendencies, but then they're also working with your mental and emotional side of things, which might respond to different forms of communication, different, techniques and styles. You might have different cravings for different, reasons. Your nutrition is not just physical, it's emotional too. So working with you and getting your feedback and listening and being able to make adjustments, I think that's really important and valuable.
Yeah, I think it's so important that they care and that it is unique to you. So, as far as the next one, I would say your coach should take the time to understand your circumstances and needs, as well as your past. So they're just respectful of your insight in regards to how you're feeling, because I always say, you're the captain of your ship. You are feeling the feels inside of your body. If those aren't communicated to a coach on, how you're feeling, then we can't make adjustments based on that, because it might feel different for me doing something than it does for you, because we're two different people. So just making sure that they kind of understand those circumstances as well.
Hmm. Definitely. I love to find out people's diet history and,
Mhm.
workouts as well, but what did not work for them, and then what did work for them, and then why they stopped doing what did work for them. Because if somebody's coming to me as a coach, it's because something the things they've tried before have either not worked, or they did work, but the results didn't last, and that's why they're here. And so those things I think are really telling. Maybe they did really, really well on a certain program, but then they quit it because it was too strict or something like that, or they weren't allowed to do this or that. And so I think we can, as coaches, take all of those things into consideration when we're building a program for someone. And
Definitely.
so the next point allows for a variety of foods in your program as well as flexibility. A good coach does not sacrifice your health, physique, and performance goals.
Yeah.
This is really good and really important, I think, and it plays into the first one of the cookie cutter programs too. Like, you want a coach that puts in effort in, giving you that flexibility and kind of explaining why they want you to eat certain foods at certain times, watches your health markers, and doesn't just, if you're trying to get super lean for a show, or you just want to lose 20 pounds in whatever, 15 weeks or whatever, they're not just simply focused on seeing the number go down. They're looking at other health markers too.
Yeah. I think those are all good points. As far as the food varieties too, I think just for like gut health, it's so important to educate people on why, it's important to incorporate things that have, fiber, or like if they have high cholesterol, like making sure they're making adjustments for that. There's so many different things that I think foods get demonized where they really shouldn't be. A deficit's a deficit. And as long as those foods sit well with your body, you're not allergic to them, you need to be able to account for those. So I always talk about like sustainability, and whatever you can do consistently is the best diet for you. So, whether it's like you're eating a high fat diet with low carbs, or you're eating high carbs with low fat, or, whatever it may be, whatever you can stick to with consistency is so important. So that's why we, like you said, dig into the past, give people, plans that are customized to their likes and dislikes. Some people might be volume eaters. Some people might want like food density. Some people are snackers, and then other people, like to eat several, like large meals, like 3 times a day. So just kind of thinking about those things. And then I think the communication piece on whether or not like you need to push harder, kind of like that tough love, or maybe like pulling back, but giving a coach should give you honest feedback, in terms of, not pushing you too far, in regards to health. Obviously, that's health and safety are super important for us. And then just giving feedback, like you mentioned earlier, in a timely manner. So we always try to get back to our clients, like with messages and check-ins within 24 business hours, just because they deserve to have answers, right away.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. And I definitely think a coach should be able to know when to give you that tough love, but also like some people need the opposite. And I think I'm one
Mhm.
of those that needs the opposite, where I need a coach to be like, hey, yep, you need to take that extra rest day. Like, I need you to take that rest day. You know what I mean? And so to have a
We just
coach
had that conversation.
we did. To have it. And sometimes that's what our bodies need to make progress actually, is to pull back. But then
Hmm.
on the other side of it, sometimes if we're, if we never feel like we need a rest day, then maybe we actually aren't pushing to the intensity that our body needs in the gym. Or, it's a mental thing that we need to just take that rest day completely off and rest. And a good coach should be able to do both of those things in a good time and place. So the next point we had is that they work within their scope of practice and make suggestions and referrals when necessary. And I think this one is really good. If you have a coach that actually says, that's not within my scope of practice, but I can refer you to this person or this person, that's not a red flag. That's a green flag. Like that, you want a coach, because coaches aren't going to know everything. Most coaches are not going to be, medical practitioners, doctors, things like that. And so they can work within their scope of practice. But then if they have people that they can refer to you to, that's a good resource to have. You want to have a coach that'll do that.
Yeah. And I think that's important, like with mental health and physical health. We are not doctors, but we can do certain lifestyle adjustments when it comes to things that are within our scope of practice. And same with like mental health, sometimes like if somebody has like some sort of eating disorder or issues with food, then it's best that they go to a qualified individual. And it's nice. I know for me, like even just like with hormone adjustments and things, like with people, I have resources even with like gut health. I have, somebody that I can refer for like a GI map and things. But making sure that we have the client's best interest and we're working within our means of what's, what we can provide, within the law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so programs and timetables are communicated clearly and are in line with realistic expectations for results. So I always feel like this is important to have like the timetable and the communication form along with like realistic expectations for what the program is going to provide in terms of results. Because when you get people that check in that are, like, oh, this isn't moving fast enough, or, I'm like really frustrated. And it's always best to just kind of like put that out there up front. I know as like a new coach, those were some of the like comments that I would get. And I learned a long time ago that just kind of like having that first conversation, telling them, like with them together, like thinking about their goals, like how can we realistically get here, set some SMART goals. So, they're specific, they're measurable, they're achievable, they're realistic, and they're time sensitive. But making sure that that is all kind of mapped out in the beginning. So then we kind of have a roadmap in terms of like what they need to do as a client and then what I need to do as a coach to get both of those in harmony in the right direction for achieving that result.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I used to always, whenever I sat down with any clients that had weight loss goals, I used to always say, okay, think about your goal and imagine that it's going to take you a year to hit your goal, like 1 year, like 12 months. That is going hardcore. It's going to take you one whole year to get to your goal. But if you take that year and you go all in and you stick it in and out, I'm talking holidays, you're gonna, make time, get your workouts in, all those things, vacations, you're gonna stick to your healthy plan that one whole year. Then imagine you get to stay at that goal for the rest of your life. Wouldn't that 1 year be worth it? And I think when you put it into perspective, it might be a year, it might be 6 months, it might, whatever your goal is, it might be over a year. But when you think about that in the span of your entire life, however long the timeline is, it just helps us get a better perspective of, rather than I need to lose 5 pounds in a week, I need to see progress now, I'm so frustrated. No, think about the entire year. During that year, if you took a year or however long it's going to take between you and your coach to hit that goal, there might be some weeks where you don't lose any weight. That's probably going to happen. And so, but we're thinking long term, but then think the span of your whole entire life. And then isn't that 1 year, it's just a really, really short time. And actually, getting to your goals in a slow and sustainable way is going to help you maintain it. And we're all trying to just reach our goals and maintain, right? So I think that's a super good perspective to have. Okay, so next point is that they're prompt with their responses to questions. This is I love this in a coach. This is a super good quality to have in a coach. A friend of mine that's on our team had posted, she had posted something to her Instagram, and it was like a time lapse of her pacing her room. And she was like, when it's check-in day and I'm waiting to hear back from my coach. And I was like, that's so typical. Like, we send our check-in and then we just sit waiting to hear back from our coach. It's so valuable to have that confidence that to know that your coach is going to communicate back to you. And I remember talking to a competitor at one show that I did, and she said, like, she was telling me about her coach and how he hadn't talked to her like all day, and she didn't know what she should be doing, and it was on her show day. And I was just like, I wouldn't even know what to, like, what is, that's not coaching, like, it kind of just blew my mind because I've always worked with my coach. I mean, you, Amy, and the coaches that I work with and around, we are just on top of responding to programs, and that's a priority.
Yeah. And I think what goes along with this hand in hand is like, I think I know from personal experience, I've had coaches that have like in their rules that you're not supposed to ask questions, like you're not supposed to, like, you're supposed to just follow the plan. And I don't think that's totally right. I think, if you don't have a good reason why you made a decision as a coach and you can't back that up with science, experience, anecdotal reasoning, some of it is just like over time, there's maybe not research on everything because only specific, studies are out there, but, based on numbers of years of experience, seeing different circumstances, I think you need to be able to give a reason why you made a choice in their programming. And so to me, like, if somebody can't explain that, that's kind of a red flag, as you would say. And then another point that we mention here is that they look at the whole picture when it comes to progress. Example, weight is not the only measurement used to determine success. So I definitely think females like really fall into the trap of using the scale as the only indicator of success. And there's so many other tools when you're building muscle, fat, when it's trading out for muscle, fat's really large, voluminous, a pound of it. And then a pound of muscle is extremely dense. So you're going to be losing inches, you're going to be losing body fat percentage, but the scale is not going to be moving if you're adding a pound of muscle, losing a pound of fat. It's just going to be staying the same, but you're going to be shrinking. Like, you're going to see that your clothes are fitting you better. If you do like a DEXA, a Fit 3D and body, you're going to see that your pounds of fat are going down, your muscle is going up. Progress pictures are also a great way to see that progress. I was just had one of my clients, she kind of compared what she looked like at the same weight. And today she looks so much tighter. And just like so much inflammation had come down. So, there's so many different ways to measure success. So just keep that in mind as well.
I think it's a really good point to the opposite point in an improvement season, because especially as females, we might be going into an improvement season with the goal of adding muscle to our frame, and that means adding weight. And then even just after a show, in order to, to get up to a healthy body fat percentage, you're going to have to see that scale go up. And so whether it's just recovering from a show or whether it's taking you into a longer improvement season, having a coach that can kind of talk you off the ledge when the scale keeps climbing. It's like, no, this is the point. You're putting on muscle. We're measuring these types of things. You're doing your DEXA scan or your, Fit 3D scan or your whatever it is, and we're tracking your muscle growth. And just that reminder that this is what's supposed to be happening is really helpful. So, another point is that they are organized and have a solid system for keeping track of your program. So, using like apps, a technology, or some sort of a platform, this is really helpful as an athlete to have a coach that can look back and track your progress, or even look back to a previous prep if you've been working with a coach for a long time and look, here's where you were, and kind of compare, this is what worked then, or look how far you've come, and that they're just really organized with getting your programs out and things like that. It's just really helpful.
Yeah, we have a client portal that just keeps track of all the data between measurements, photos. So I think even just like for lifestyle, I think it's important for them to see like where they started from, just to get that perspective. And, even if they have a simple weight loss goal, like kind of seeing how many inches they've lost over time. Because you kind of look at your body every day and you may not be seeing the changes. And our client portal allows them to kind of look to see. It not only gives like a great like diary of kind of how the week went. So we understand what adjustments need to be made. It has like their, all of their programming in there and the message system, and it's all in one place. So I really like it. It was something that I've wanted for a long time. And I actually designed it like to be customized to kind of like what I wanted in that platform. So yeah, it's something that I feel strongly about. Okay, the next point is that your coach, you should look for somebody that takes time and uses various technologies and tools to communicate effectively outside just typed words. So we alluded to this with the Loom videos. I think, anytime you can level up from just a typed word, a lot can be kind of like people can kind of like read into certain things that are typed when they can't see your face, they can't see your body language, they can't hear the inflections in your voice. I think it makes a lower level of communication. And the more you can make like something visual and auditory, all that. So yeah, we definitely use like for our feedback videos, and feeling like that's a better way to go than to just like type a response.
hmm For sure. And then one more point is a good coach is able to share tips and troubleshoot problems that may arise. This is crucial. So even with the same athlete or lifestyle client, every prep or weight loss journey might be different. So what worked for you last time might not work for you this time. You might have different issues that come up and you might have to have different, methods, or you might need different tips. You might have a different job. I have one client that when I worked with her before, she was working days and now she's working nights. And so then that brings on a whole different level of, well, what are the tips to help you get through the night without, going off of your nutrition plan? And what does that work look like and things like that. So to have a coach that's able to share, dieting hacks or tips for the gym or things like that, but then also help you troubleshoot your problems, that's really beneficial.
Yeah. And just to sum this all up, I know we're kind of running out of time, but coaches in general are something that I've invested in. Even though I can do it myself, I have an undergrad degree in all of this. So I could have been, years ago, been coaching myself, but I've
Mhm.
always invested in a coach. And I don't know if it's because like I come from an athletic background, knowing that, in softball, I needed a coach, in volleyball, I needed a coach.
Mhm.
um, I think we always need somebody to kind of have that outside eye that's going to keep us accountable, no matter how much we know about nutrition, about working out, and just kind of having that other perspective and keeping you accountable to a goal that you set. And, I've been doing bodybuilding for like 12 years and I have never spent 1 month in an improvement season where I didn't have a coach. So this is Balanced Bodybuilding Radio. A lot of times people will take the break of coaching, when they're not in a lean out phase, or, because that's kind of exciting. Like you do see the scale going down. But, every season is important and it's a year-round sport. So I know that for me, like I need to, in my improvement season, be building. And I know that that takes just as much planning and preparation when it comes to my programming. And I need to be checking in every week and I need to be staying accountable. Now, my reference points may be different. Like you had mentioned, like you may be gaining weight, but hopefully it's the right kind of weight if you have that program set up in a proper manner. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know of any time that I've had like a break from having some sort of coach. I feel like they're extremely valuable. And no matter how much you know about the industry, you don't know everything. And it's, you can always learn from other people. And yeah, that's just kind of my 2 cents on that.
Yeah,
So
I think also from the lifestyle side of things, the same thing, because lifestyle clients, we are, especially females, we're notorious for our, yo-yo dieting. And so
mhm.
we'll go hardcore on a program, but then when we decide to coach ourselves or get off of some sort of structured program, then that's when the weight comes back and we end up, where we were in the beginning, or maybe even heavier or not as in shape as we were when we started that first program. So having a coach and working with a coach long term, I think can provide the benefits of knowledge, learning to recognize, your style of working out, your style of eating, what works for you, what your triggers are, things, be able to recognize when you start spiraling downward, or start taking off too many rest days, or maybe it's a vacation that throws you off or something, and to have that level of accountability, but also that knowledge to give you to really develop those lifestyle habits that'll allow you to maintain that health and fitness for the rest of your life. So I think from a lifestyle side of things, that's where the value of having a long-term coach could come in, with that mental and emotional awareness as well as the physical.
Yeah, and invest in yourself. I mean, there's no greater gift than the gift of health for your body and your energy, your mind, your just every part of your life. It's going to bleed into if you are taking care of, those foundational things like your nutrition and your movement and everything. So, invest in yourself and it pays off dividends
Mhm.
for sure. So,
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Remember, you can find us on Instagram at Balanced Bodybuilding Radio. You can find us at Glam Girl Bikini, at Amy Anger, and at Leemarie 183. We are now up on Apple Podcasts. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and review, or we're on Spotify, Podbean, and YouTube as well. So thank you so much for listening.